Welcome back. Let's turn our attention now to education in Nigeria, as the federal government has stopped scholarships for Nigerians to study abroad through the Bilateral Education Agreement Program. Minister of Education Tunji Alausa called the scheme a waste of the government's funds. He said that the money spent on foreign scholarships should be invested in improving the quality of tertiary education back in the country.
I looked at all the courses. People are going there to study. A student went to Algeria to study English. Algeria, a French-speaking country, to study English. Students are going to study psychology, sociology in these countries. Courses that we have here that will do better here. And before this exchange rate fluctuation, Nigeria was spending $6,000 extra on those students. If the government spends $6,000 on you in Nigeria, it will help capacity in our system. We will be canceling this bilateral exchange agreement. It's not the best use of money. We're cheating you other Nigerian students that are studying here.
Minister of Education Tunji Alausa there. We're joined now by Ashom Maisamari, who is a former dean of the Faculty of Education at Yakubu Gowon University here in Abuja. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. First, let's get your reaction to the Minister of Education's position that scholarships for Nigerians studying abroad will be stopped because they are nothing but a waste of government's funds, especially when you hear the examples he cites that some English go out there to study English in Algeria.
Yeah, that example is quite unfortunate, but I think what we should be thinking is a review of what programs should be sponsored for in what country.
Right.
It should be a sponsorship to a country that has expertise better than we do in Nigeria, and not just sending people for the sake of it. The unfortunate thing, I am worried, if you look at the advert for people who are sponsored for this BEA, is that you must have all your papers A's or B's.
Right.
And these are the best of our students we produce that we send abroad for this bilateral agreement. And for you to scrap it overnight, where do they start? Of course, it will be a setback, no matter what arrangement is made to integrate them back in the country. It will be a waste of time. The psychological trauma that will affect those, once you are intelligent, you are highly ambitious, and any obstacle can upset you. That will be a setback for life for all, or for somebody throughout. So I think if we are thinking of certain courses that are offered in other countries that are not better than ours, the issue would have been, who were those who did the policy? Didn't they consider what course should be obtainable in what country based on the expertise? They should have done that. And so scrapping it, to me, is not the right thing to do, but reviewing the program to ensure that those who have better facilities are given the opportunity to train our young and the best brains as we have selected them. Moreover, a bilateral agreement, by the name bilateral, means it is an agreement between Nigeria and other countries. And to me, that also involves foreign policy. It involves international relationship. Unilaterally for Nigeria to cancel it, it will have a far-reaching effect on the perception of those countries with regards to what is Nigeria thinking about our relationship with them. There will be some question marks. And I don't think education should do this thing on its own without first consulting stakeholders. And because it involves foreign policy, I wonder if Ministry of Foreign Affairs was involved before this decision was taken. Don't forget, we have our embassies there. They may be hearing it from the news, and that will be an embarrassment. Questions have been asked there, which they may not be able to answer. The students are asking questions which they do not have. For example, those that are there, what do you do with them? Is it immediate? Is it going to be phased out? No one is certain for now because that pronouncement has not clearly defined that. And these things should be done.
So you don't see this as a real strategy at reforming the education system? Or do you think it's a cost-cutting measure? Because when you hear the minister say $6,000 on an individual to go and study English in Algeria.
When the Naira was still...
Yes, I mean, it really doesn't make any sense. So you're saying we should not throw away the baby and the bathwater?
Correct, that's the word. That is the word. And that's why I say should be a reform, a review of the program rather than scrapping. Because there are advantages. Of course, where we don't have the facilities adequate enough. And don't forget, this is also to produce Nigerian graduates that are globally competitive. We are producing international labor force, not just for Nigerian market. And if we localize, that is what we call in academics, inbreeding of graduates. Right. Somebody grows within an environment he knows no any other place. These are things that are affected. It's right to reproduce what we have. And let's put it very clearly. These are children of the masses who perform very well at all level. If I may ask the question, all of these, our big men, the elites, take the statistics of their children. Are they in Nigeria? Are they in Nigerian universities?
Good question.
And if they are not in Nigerian university, how much do they spend on them? Whose money? These are questions that parents of these children that are scholars outside would want to ask. And I think a very important decision like that should have been more thoughtfully put on table across board for inputs before such pronouncements.
Well, let's hope the Minister of Education is just putting out there, as you know, some of the ideas is playing with in a way that can save Nigeria unnecessary funds that are being, spent on students abroad. Though he said those that are still in school will, they'll still finish. Be, taken care of. They will not be left out in the cold. Now, let's talk about this TED Fund High Impact Intervention Project, where the government is earmarking about 110 billion naira for 18 universities to address the medical, dentistry, pharmacy, nursing studies challenges. First off, does this fund go far enough?
Well,
if so, which really should be the priority areas in a way that these funds will be most impactful?
Well, I would say it is a welcome development. Like we have a proverb in Hausa, if you are trying to go to heaven and you are able to get to the first step, you have already left the ground level, so you are on your way. That may not be enough, but it's a right step. I took a quick analysis of the 18 universities selected, and I discovered that there were 3 in each geopolitical zone. And I also discovered that if a state is picked and the federal university in that state does not have faculty of education in the federal university, a state university is given. I'm sure it was also strategic too to ensure that the funds is not meant for federal institutions alone, but also state institutions, public institutions are also beneficiaries to that program. But I look at the spread. I'm sorry, I'm from the University of Abuja, the Yakubu Gowon University.
Yes.
And I look at, well, usually Abuja FCT is not regarded as a state. And so when you talk of the 6 states in the middle belt, or what do you call it? North Central.
Yes.
FCT is not mentioned. And I discovered that if there is a central university that is missing and is of concern, is the Yakubu Gowon University. Right. And I just look at the contiguous states, and none of them is benefiting. Kogi State,
Nasarawa.
Niger State, Nasarawa State. And this is the nucleus of the North Central. And this is where Nigerians, true Nigerians, reside and benefit. Because in FCT, is the only university that has the whole of the nation as its catchment. And such a strategic university, I thought should have been considered. Even if it means making the 19th state, it should be.
Making a good case for University of Abuja there and the North Central. But let me ask you, because we hear a lot about infrastructure when it comes to reforming the education and these funds that the government wants to pour in. More of lecture halls, labs, hostels, usually the physical infrastructure.
Yes.
But what about the human infrastructure? Are there enough qualified lecturers, to mentor and meet this new demand?
Well, let me put it from my own understanding. I have been part of accreditation team. I have chaired some, and I have discovered that we are still far from the NUC benchmark of staff-student ratio and even the qualification of lecturers.
What's the benchmark?
The benchmark is for the sciences in particular, medicine in particular. 1 lecturer to 15 students. That's the general sciences.
What obtains at the moment?
For the arts, 1 lecturer to 30 students. But if I would tell you the truth, because of that, go and find out. Most universities have decided to cut corners. All examinations are now CBT, mostly up to 300-400 level.
Computer-based tests.
Computer-based. And we all know computer-based is all about regurgitating, reproducing, no intellectual analysis. You take a student doing literature, for example, and you give him OBJ for exam, where you are supposed to test the student's ability to organize, to synthesize. I mean, there is a limit to which we can do that, but that is done in order to facilitate teachers' ability to cope with the number of students that outnumber their capacity, outweigh their capacity. So, to me, I think a lot needs to be done. A lot needs to be done in terms of human capital development for the quality of training we are providing in public universities, public institutions generally. And of course, you will also see that there is a little of I don't care attitude towards that. Of recent, TEDFund has abolished fellowship training abroad, that it must be local, localized. What are we talking about? The university is built on universality.
Right.
Try to obtain knowledge from other regions.
After all, compare, the village.
Compare what you have here and what is obtained elsewhere.
Absolutely.
And then you are saying everything should be done here. There are lecturers who are produced from their primary school, they went to university staff school, university primary, secondary school, first degree, master's, PhD, all localized.
So their horizon is
very
they
are so
very
narrow.
Limited. Yeah, unfortunately.
And in those days, it used to be a deliberate act. You are taking, if you are brilliant as an undergraduate, you are given automatic on graduation, you are given a graduate assistant position, and then you are sent abroad.
Yeah, we went on year abroad programs.
Go abroad, come out with new knowledge, and then contribute to the bill of the home university. But that's no longer there.
Thank you so much for that submission.
Quite a disturbing picture you paint, but we have to thank you so much for sharing your insights on the development in the education sector.